Welcome to Talk Tennis. Today we are going to talk all things Head Extreme 2026. We have Oak, Chris, and Troy.
Hey.
No.
What's cracking?
What's crack-a-lacking?
Chris's forehand.
Oh. Is that a positive?
Crack.
Okay.
And then sometimes it's back fence crack, but sometimes it's in the court, and that's
Or
when it's
sometimes
good.
it's the elbow.
I saw the miss hit Monday, so I didn't know if that was in reference.
Oh, no.
Yeah, see, it's a work in progress.
Yesterday we were playing
Aren't we all?
Dingles.
He's got a personal coach in Bethany Maddox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday we played Dingles. And then, like, halfway through the session, he picks up the XL, and then he just starts hitting hard and flat.
Oh.
Everything up until then was, like, drop shots, and then he just had to, like, unleash the
I went
beast.
extreme with it.
Did you choke up any on the extended length?
I choke up on every racket I hit with, but
Okay.
not because of any length reasons. But I just hold higher on the handle, I think, than a lot of players.
I don't know if you saw the comment section on Sam Query's review. There was a
Yeah,
lot.
he holds a similar position, I think, to me,
Yeah.
like just kind of above the butt cap. Yeah.
And Dimitrov too, right? A little bit up.
Grigor's pretty high up.
Yeah.
Even on his ground strokes.
Right. Yeah.
But, like, Sam's mostly on his volleys. Kind of like how Rafa would choke up on his volleys and stuff like that.
It's dangerous on the one-handed backhand. I've hit my kneecap with the butt cap.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's going to leave a print.
Yeah, topspin. Yeah.
Oh, topspin.
Yeah, that.
Dang.
Okay, I got a warm-up question for you guys. With the new extremes, this racket franchise is always a little polarizing and cosmetic. Would a cosmetic ever deter you from switching to a racket?
Ooh. I think it would deter me from maybe if I put my consumer hat on and not my I've been working at Tennis Warehouse for a long time hat on. I think it could deter me from trying a racket.
Like, that's not my color. I would never
I'm
hit with
just like,
that.
I'm not really interested. But having worked here for a long time and having hit rackets I didn't necessarily like the look of, but then love the playability, I would say no.
Yeah.
But as a consumer, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if it was really garish and just like something I couldn't see myself using, maybe not. But similarly, it's like I'd rather just hit it anyway and try it.
I think, like Chris was saying, if I, think about it from like an outside perspective, I think it can make it a hard sell. Like, especially for the price of rackets nowadays, if I'm going to invest $350 on a frame and I need a couple of them, and I really don't like how it looks, and there's like a close tie to another racket that's like maybe not quite as good, but it's like, it looks sexy, I don't know. It could make it a hard sell.
Well, I guess the flip of the question is there ever like a cosmetic that you love with a racket that you don't like that would
Oh, all the time.
that would make you hit it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like you really want to like that racket because of the cosmetic, but it's like, I just can't play well with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's like every demanding racket, right? Like any pro stuff, like classic.
Yeah.
Okay, well, today we're going to focus on the new extremes, specifically the MP, MPXL, and the Pro. Troy did a little bit of homework, it sounds like, and he's going to walk us through maybe some of the generations of the extremes, and then from there we can talk about what's changed with this update.
Yeah, I mean, along with a lot of the other head franchises, because they pretty much update them on the same technologies. Going back and counting, I believe this would be starting from Microgel.
Okay.
Which is kind of like the first, like, extreme as we know it. Kind of a yellow racket or green racket, thick beam, 100 square inch, designed for power, kind of that modern power spin racket.
Yeah.
This would be technically, I think, version 12.0.
Dang.
But there was a couple extremes. I was looking online on the message boards, and a couple of members mentioned extremes that came before Microgel, like in the Intelligence line, and maybe like a TI that had a crossbar.
Yeah, there was a crossbar racket back in the day.
And I actually, luckily, thanks to J-Dub, our team member, he gave me one of his Intelligence Extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't the extreme as we know it.
No.
This is more of like a kind of a straight beam frame, and it's got an 1819 pattern. It's got a crossbar. It's almost like a smaller head version of a Radical Oversize, like the Agassi racket.
And that head vibration tab is almost like it's got two crossbars in it.
Like, yeah,
I was going to say, a little graphite damage up there too, man.
Yeah.
Was this his actual racket? No.
this is one of J-Dub's. He even has like the the modified grip that he likes, kind of like when Wilson did those.
Oh, yeah. Babala did that, like ergonomic.
Yeah.
Too, yeah.
Yeah. This is the
Gotta get him
JDub
back
special
on the
right here.
court.
So Intelligence Extreme. This was the precursor,
So J-Dub's a extreme user.
I guess.
Legend has it.
But anyways, yeah. Since the microgel, which was like the original kind of extreme as we know it, I believe this should be
12.
Yeah.
Wow.
going from like microgel to microgel 2.0, which had Teflon grommets or something like that. Then UTech IG. Then the one that was beloved by a lot of us. I remember Andy had a stint with it. IG Extreme 2.0.
Did that have a little navy in it?
That one, no.
Oh.
The Navy one came soon. That was the graphene. I call that the Seahawks one because
Okay.
it looked like the Seahawks colors, the Seattle Seahawks navy with the. But anyways, the IG was like the black, green, had the clear grommets, and it was like one of the softest
Okay.
extremes.
Now, the early MPs were longer, right? Weren't they 27 and a
Yes.
quarter?
The microgel and the UTech MP versions, the 300 gram models, were 27.25.
Yeah.
Okay.
And supposedly that's what like Kuznetsova carried on as her like pro stock
Awesome. Cool.
back in the day.
Well, Chris, I'm going to lean on you. What is I know you guys had some serious dingles yesterday. What is the biggest change that you are feeling in this update?
Well, I like the MPXL. So the fact that we have a longer length extreme, I'm really happy to see that. I've hit that one on the Pro. I have not hit the regular MP. And I'm really, really enjoying the MP XL. So I'm super happy that there's a longer racket back. And on the backhand slice, which I like to hit a lot, it's kind of like my rally shot off the backhand. Just the extra length gives me a lot of leverage, and I really feel like I can hold it and go like cross court down the line at the last second. So yeah, really enjoying it, liking it on serve too. So that's, I think, the most impressive update for me is just the fact that that model is in the lineup.
And Oak, I looked at you and said, uh-oh, because I know we only have one MPXL, and I know Oak also is really enjoying it. What are you, I'm sure you can gush about what you like about it.
Well, I mean, anytime you have an extended length 100-inch hoop, for me personally, like I struggle a little bit with rackets like that. They just feel a little sluggish through the air, but that's not the case here. This racket is just like really quick for that spec pairing. And then on top of that, like it remains very stable as well, even in stock form. Like I remember before we tried it, we were thinking like, oh, it would have been cool to see this in like a 98 or a 305 stock weight. But to see something that's like this reliable at 300 grams, at 27 and a half, it's just a really fun racket. And on serve especially, it's like, it's a hammer.
Do you think there's some squared influence in there? Because this is a headlight and it's got a low swing weight.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Troy, you currently use the extended length racket. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling? I just realized this is the MPXL playtest.
Yeah, it's really good so far. My biggest thing was not maneuverability. Like this thing's way lighter than my weighted up EZO 98 plus.
Yeah.
But I was worried, kind of like the V cores, because this is kind of that spin power silo.
Right.
That it was going to be too hard for me to tame the power and the launch, which wasn't the case. So that was really nice. For me, it's kind of has that feel of like a V core, like older ones. But it didn't have that like crazy launch angle for me. Like it felt pretty good. So I'd say it's kind of like in between like a toned down V-Core and power, but not quite as much control as my E-Zone 98 plus, but makes sense because it's 100. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like almost too fast and whippy for me. Mm-hmm. I want to weight it up.
I get that.
One, the grip size is small for me, so I would probably shrink sleeve it. That'd put a bunch of handle weight in it like I've done with some other extendeds, and then maybe a little weight up top. But it feels really nice.
Nice.
And I like the fact that it's still controllable at 100 with an open pattern.
Yeah. I'm going to jump into talking about the MP. Have you guys hit the regular MP much? No.
I have not.
No. I got it. But as someone that's not normally going to the MP, I was just saying before we started recording, I have now encouraged 2 players to switch to the MP or try the MP, and then they loved it. So one has for sure loved it. She won't get it out of her hand. And she's coming from a Pure Drive tour. She never should have been in the Pure Drive tour, but she should have been in a Pure Drive. So I think the 300 grams already is amazing. But then it's got this perfect balance of like controlled power. She's getting more pop off this racket than her Pure Drive tour. And then there's another player that I've been talking to, and she's coming from a Boom MP. She's actually almost identical build to the player I mentioned, and she's looking for more power, easier spin from her Boom, and she like is very consistent, doesn't necessarily put balls away. So I think this is going to be a good option. And then freaking Tiff is nailing the ball with the MP. Like, she is out hitting me in depth and pace and power, and she's just like, I know she's just switched to the Prince racket, but I feel like this is also one that she should consider.
Yeah, when we were playing Dingles the other week, I remember thinking that as well. Like, she was teeing off.
Ripping the ball, which is amazing. We do have a lot of generated questions from the message board as well as YouTube, so I'm going to start letting you guys read them out, and you guys can answer them. Before we get into that, though, there was one other thing I wanted to ask you guys. When we got presented from Head, they kind of made a shift of saying that this is going to now be more of a powerful racket rather than a spin racket. How do you feel about that, and what do you think why do you think they're kind of like trying to shift that story?
I mean, honestly, I think the two kind of go hand in hand. You know, like, you look at, say, Pure Aero and Pure Drive, you can still hit a ton of spin with a Pure Drive, even though that's the power one of the two, and then the Pure Aero is supposed to be the spin. The specs are pretty similar on both. You can hit a ton of spin with both. I think with the new beam design of that Pure Aero, you can get a little bit more spin out of it. And I think the same here, you can get a ton of spin out of these rackets, just in that same. You could say the same with Vico and E-Zone.
Yeah, Yodex,
Yeah.
So like maybe opening it up to like, hey, if you're looking for power, we also got power, but of course you're gonna get spin. I don't know. It was an interesting shift, I thought.
Yeah, like not emphasizing spin as like the only thing that this racket is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times with like the other brands, they have the power silo, power spin silo.
Yeah.
And really, like, a lot of the times the main difference is just string spacing.
Right.
You know, it's not so much RA or not so much beam thickness. So, and I think with Head, right, like, kind of their power series is the Boom, but they used to have Instinct, and Instinct's kind of like going away.
Yeah.
They have another power silo. This is Extreme and Boom, right?
Yeah, this will be it. Yeah.
So Boom, Extreme, yeah. And the fact that maybe some of these are a little stiffer than some of the Booms give you that energy return too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This goes straight back into the MPXL. Would this person would be interested to hear if the MPXL amplifies the current strengths of the Extreme line, if the extra length gives more leverage to generate more spin?
Yes. Easy answer.
Next.
Well, sorry, what did they say about the string though? Does it amplify the strings?
The strengths.
Strengths.
Oh, strength.
Sorry.
I thought they said strings. I was like, okay.
Strengths.
What strings are they talking about? Yeah.
Well, talking about the strings real quick, on the MP and the MPXL, I remember we noticed this on our first hit. The top cross is really close to the end of the hoop there. And I feel like as far as like sort of taming the control or taming the power and giving you a little bit more control, that's where I felt it like the most, especially if I was like making contact on like anything a little bit towards the end, like if I'm on the stretch for a ball, trying to get to like one extra shot. And it was really nice for sort of just like guiding the ball back.
Yeah, that deadens it up.
Yeah.
Whereas if there was space there, if you hit up here, there's a little more give.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially on something that's extended length, like that really helps, I feel like.
Yeah, I thought it was easy to generate spin with the MPXL. I thought I was getting the maximum out of the leverage of it, like on serves and groundies. And then at net, it is very head light. Well, it feels light and fast in hands over here. But if the swing weight's not as high as you would expect for a longer length racket, and so the maneuverability is there. So to volley with, it's really nice as well. So I think it's a great all court kind of racket.
Yeah. Another real quick XL racket that was pretty low swing weight was the Blackout V2, right? Wasn't it like in the low 320s?
Yeah.
Pull it up.
I think
so. That was.
I remember really liking it.
Yeah.
I really like it too.
Yeah,
I think
that was another one that hit
comparable. That's like
Yeah.
fast for a 27.5, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was just one spec.
It
not
hit its
hard.
weight, its length well, should I say.
Yeah. XTD.
It is 327.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was. I think we had a hitter that was like 320
Light.
or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anytime you're below 330 with an XL,
It's
especially
light,
at
or
27
not
and a
light,
half,
but-
yeah.
yeah.
It's
I think
lighter
the
than
current
expected.
Pure Drive Plus is close to 325. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's our hitter.
Yeah.
But
Do you want me to pull it up?
yeah, it's pretty fast as well. The current Pure Drive.
But if you
Plus.
can, like, I'd almost always recommend like shooting under spec. If you have the
Yeah,
option,
because you can build.
you can always add more.
Yeah.
Pure Drive Plus is 325.
Got one right.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys hit with the Pro much?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then this is a great question for you. So have I. But we would like a comparison of the Pro with the V-Core 98, the current one, and the Aero 98, and especially want to know if Hybor made it more solid and powerful to catch up with the competition.
Okay, I would say like the liveliest one and the hardest one to tame would be V-Core.
Yes.
Just because of the string pattern, the launch
Agreed.
angle.
Yeah.
My favorite, Pure Aero, hands down. I have not gelled yet with the Pro. I think I've got to play around with some string tension. I need a deader string, or I need to go up because I'm overhitting a lot with the Pro, and I'm not with the XL with the same string and tension in it. So, yeah, we've got Lynx Tour in there. I'm not sure the tension they were, I'm assuming 52. But with the Pro, I think I need to go with a thicker, deader string because for whatever reason, I'm hitting long with that racket.
Okay.
And it feels great in the hand when I'm holding it. I'm like, I really like the weight and balance, that just the hand feel of it. When I'm swinging it around my body, it feels good. And then I'm just not, for whatever reason, finding my target yet.
I'm having a weird transition. I'm loving it on the ground off the baseline, but I've been hitting that Prince 100 310 with a 16-18, and like I'm struggling a tiny bit with serves and returns clearing the net. And
Like it's clipping or going low.
Yeah, it's like clipping the top of the net. That's on me. That's literally my problem. But this doesn't feel, again, I would agree. The V-Core is so lively. I can't control a single ball. Yeah. And the Pure Aero 98, for me, it's like whatever you want, it gives you. This isn't like super, like I don't feel like I'm hitting my hardest shots, but that might be a me thing too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I only hit with it for one session, and I need to hit with it more. I was actually the opposite, but I didn't notice the control issues when I did hit it. I was just thinking that the string bed felt a little firm and dead.
It does, yeah.
So maybe just for me, just trying a different poly in here.
Yeah.
And I also like kind of the lower tensions. I hit a pretty loopy shot. But that's the only thing I noticed so far. I do notice the high bore and the paint job compared to the last one gives it a little firmer feel, also a little cleaner response. So I like that about it.
Firmer feel for sure. Less muted.
I think for me, I just need to tinker with different string, maybe string gauge, go a little thinner for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, it feels really solid at contact. I'm not getting the ball exactly where I want to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And real quick, sorry,
yeah.
we talked about the history of the extremes. The Pro version is the 98, and they first introduced a 98 square inch extreme in the Graphene 360 Plus, so like 3 generations ago, and they called it the Tour. So it was the Extreme Tour. It was a 98. The next version that came after it was also Extreme Tour 98. The last two, they changed the name to Pro, and it's the same model, essentially. A little different beam, but it's also the 98. But the confusing thing for the people that like know Extreme from way back is that they used to have an Extreme Pro model, and the ones way back were like the Pure Drive Tour. They were 100 square inch. They were the exact same as the MP, essentially.
But heavier.
But heavier. I think they were like a 310 or 315.
And then if you get more confusing, the Radical Tour is a 1820, right?
The current one, yes.
And then the Gravity Tour is...
what is it, 1619?
Yes, the Tour 98.
It's just very confusing.
Yeah.
So these are rackets we used to see on the Pro Tour a lot. Like we were talking earlier, Gasquet used it. You said Yuzny, Lubicic, and Kuznetsova.
Yeah.
Has there been any talk or mention? Have you guys heard anything about a player being in an extreme cosmetic? I have not.
Well, like current players?
Yeah. Wait.
Current players, we have Berrettini.
Fokina.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Those are the ones.
Fokina's probably, he's one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Fokina, Berrettini, Krejcikova. who's
Your girl.
yeah, she's awesome.
But no one new coming in.
Oh, like new players coming
Yeah.
in with an extreme. Not too many that I can
Yeah.
think of. No. Sure, there's some.
Who would you put in it?
Miss Eddie.
Oh. I would.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I think that should happen.
I mean, we used to have Gasquet with a nice one-y. Now we should have Musetti in there too, you know?
Mhm.
Right.
Carrying it on.
Yeah. Trying to carry
Speaking
that
of
torch.
paint jobs, that like turned me off. That boom paint job turned me
Oh,
off
yeah.
so bad. And then I grew into it a little bit through the playtest, but that was a
What do you
tough
think
one.
of this paint job?
I like it a lot better than the previous one, but I've also heard opposite. I mean, like it seems polarizing always. What did you guys think?
Yeah.
I think it's great,
like it?
honestly. Yeah, I think it's like ugly, but in like a nice way. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like garish where like it sticks out. It obviously is like very Brat, like, and that was a huge album, you know, a couple years ago. And so, yeah, just that sort of like it catches your eye, and like we've talked about this, like, you know, you can see it from courts away,
Yeah.
kind of thing. You're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's an extreme.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, I think for an extreme, it fits.
Yeah.
You know, I like the fact that it's yellow on
That's
one
right,
side of
yeah.
the throat and green
Like
on the other,
shifty.
and then also that the paint has that kind of like shift to it in the light.
Yeah.
Which I know they've taken from the automotive world and applied to other rackets. Yeah, I think it's cool.
Someone called it like Mountain Dew.
I get like Ninja Turtle vibes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely growing on me.
Yeah.
Each one kind of I've had to get used to, but I'm sort of like I like it. I don't love it, but I think the more I see it, and maybe throw some Hyper G in there. I'm like, what? Or like a yellow string. They're kind of cool. But the last one was like very much like
I hated the last
you
one.
hate it or love it. The one before that I actually did enjoy, the soft
avocado.
lime with like that seafoam green, the
Yeah.
avocado. That was kind of cool for a matte racket.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I haven't liked the previous couple of versions.
Yeah.
So this one, I'm like, hey, we're back. We're back.
No.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
it's- I
and
think it's
gloss.
definitely clean.
The only thing I'm a little so on is like this.
Oh, yeah.
the
I
text
know.
on the side. I'm like, whoa.
It's a
What's
it
going
gives
on?
you a little dyslexia, or
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's just kind of funky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to the MP real quick. Someone would love to know if the MPXL is only a longer handle and otherwise identical MP to the MP. Can
As far as I know, yeah,
mold,
it's
layout,
pretty
weight
much
distribution.
Yeah, spot on. It's just
Oops, I should probably put this
literally
down.
the half inch at the bottom.
Yeah.
Grommets should be the same. String spacing, as far as I know. Yeah. Pretty much what they do with the Aero and the Pure Drive and the E-Zones.
Another question: does the Extreme Pro have more control than the VCore 98? I would say yes.
I think so.
I think any racket
Yeah.
has more control than the VCore 98. How does power level, spin, and comfort compare with the other head rackets for the MP and the Pro? You guys kind of already hit on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think you could definitely do an interesting demo session with the Boom Pro and this Extreme
Yeah,
Pro.
yeah.
Right now, and I wasn't not a fan of the previous Boom, but this last one I really clicked with. I'd probably lean more towards the in playability, the Boom, but in looks, the Extreme right now. But I need to play around with strings a bit more with this Extreme just to dial it in for me.
Question again was like what?
Other
Oh,
head-
like compared to the other.
How does the power level,
Pro.
spin, and comfort compare to the other head rackets for the MP
Other
and the Pro?
line and
Like,
Pro.
yeah. So, like, speed, gravity. Well, gravity is going to always have the most feel.
Yeah,
This
that's
is the
super
opposite.
plush.
Speed
Yeah.
Tour for me wins in spin. That's one of the most spin-friendly head rackets I've hit in a long time.
Yeah. I would say that's probably pretty close to like an Extreme MP, but you get it in a smaller package. Yeah. Comfort wise, they're firm. Well, at least the Pro felt the firmest to me,
Yeah.
but not like jarring. It
No.
still has pretty good dampening in there.
Do we know what the RA is coming in at?
Yeah. So far, just in like small samples, the MP is like kind of in that. I think it's like in that like 66, 67
Okay.
range. So pretty close to what it was before. The Pro, I think, is like right around 64. We're finding, but
Oh, interesting.
don't
Okay.
quote anything on that because it's just small samples,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I can't recall 100% if some of those were strung or unstrung. But I don't remember the MPXL.
Okay.
The thing I do remember on the MPXL was the swing weight,
Yeah.
and it was like low 320s, which is pretty fast for. But yeah, comfort wise, firm but not jarring. Power, I'd say, up there with the boom, maybe even a little more lively. I feel like I can hit a heavier, lively ball with it. I think it. I don't know if you asked this earlier, like player we recommend it to, or did you?
No, but you could go for it.
I was just thinking like a radical player or speed type of player that's looking
For a little more
easy playability, a little more liveliness on their ball. This is a great option, and I think it's great because it's like you go up, but for me, they don't feel like they're that hard to control. A lot of times when those players go up to like a pure drive or something like that, it's like, oh, you're making a big sacrifice. I think it does a really good job of like giving you that forgiveness and that power spin, but it still has pretty good like control feel comfort aspect. Kind of like E-Zone, I guess.
It seems like we're attracting a lot of V-Core players with some of these questions. So I'm going to roll right into the next one. It's former V-Core 98 user. Didn't like the feel of the last 2 Yonex generations. Now playing with the Speed Tour. But I want more forgiveness and help while keeping lots of maneuverability. I play aggressive doubles, heavy spin serves, one-hand backhand. I'm looking for a new racket that's forgiving and can produce a heavy ball that forces errors and weak replies. The MP seems like a good fit on paper, but doesn't have enough control. The Pro seems like it's too low power and spin. And now I'm like, wait, did I just hear MPXL is your new racket of choice?
Yeah, the first thing I thought was like maybe MPXL, but MP customized a little bit. But
yeah, I would agree with that. The regular MP I haven't hit, so I can't really comment. But I think going that route and weighting it up gives you a bit more room to play around with and really get it dialed in. A Pro could be a good hit too. It comes through the ball really nicely. So yeah, I would definitely give it a demo.
I wouldn't say that these are necessarily more forgiving compared to like a V-Core.
Or a Speed Tour. Now he's got a Speed Tour.
Yeah, and for me at least, these definitely felt firmer than the last Extremes. Those ones felt like they had a little bit more dwell time. You could shape the ball, hold on to it a little bit longer. And if you're coming from V-Core, I feel like you're used to like that lower RA, more dwell time, holding that ball in like the isometric hoop a little bit longer. But yeah, again, if you weight it up, that would help with the forgiving aspect.
You want something more forgiving than the Speed Tour?
Let me make sure.
Because I think the MPXL could be the answer here.
Yeah.
Looking for a racket that is forgiving and can produce a heavy ball that forces errors and weak replies.
Demo the MPXL.
I think the MPXL sounds,
Yeah.
especially the one-handed backhand.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the one-handed backhand, and you guys both like it on serves and
So I
aggressive
think MPXL
doubles.
is a good one, and maybe demo the MP with it. And if he doesn't mind, or she doesn't mind adding a little bit of weight here and there, I think the MP could be
get it completely dialed.
But I think on his 1E too, he's going to get the benefit of the longer length, the leverage there, and it's still fast and easy to move. And I think for me at least, sometimes with longer rackets, it can be a lot of racket to get around, especially on like a return or something when you want to come over it.
Yeah.
But no issues with this MPXL.
could do the Gasquet, right? Like he was a 27 and a half and then had that big old baseball bat.
Yeah.
The grip.
Yeah.
But we are going to wrap this one up. Do you guys have any further thoughts that you want to mention? And then I have one last question that I'll ask. Anything that we missed that you want people to know about these rackets? We haven't had a chance to try a variety of strings, but we have it with Head Tour or Lynx Tour.
Lynx Tour, yeah. I would just say that, like, compared to, I mean, the most obvious comparisons from other brands, right, are going to be Aero and V-Core, and I'd say that this sits pretty nicely in between these. It's not quite as soft as the V-Core. It's not quite as stiff as the Aero. So if you're looking for something in that power spin realm, I think that this is actually honestly a really nice update, and it has a surprising amount of touch too. I feel like that's something we haven't addressed yet. But
well, we were talking before, a little bit of a hot take. Someone commented that Head is making the best rackets with the worst paint jobs. And again, it kind of, that's where that question does a polarizing paint job deter you from trying a racket or using a racket? But
yeah. I could see that. Sorry, just because other than the Speed, like Legend or the Speed, and then the Prestige, all their paint jobs are very loud, very bright colors, like neon. So for the player that doesn't like that,
yeah. I mean, I like this one. I like Radical. I like Speed. Booms. I think the gravities look amazing. The previous gravities and booms have been where I've been like, it's really got to play well for me to use that racket. These do play well, so I would, and I like kind of like the look of this. I do like the look of this one, so I'd have no problem taking this one on court.
Yeah, the feedback from what it sounds like has been really positive so far, so it's going to be great to get in your hands. Last question from one of our YouTubers. Which racket line do you think has and will benefit the most from the high board layups? This person's very excited for a radical update eventually. But is there like one franchise that has gotten high board? Have they all gotten high board? Or is Gravity or Radical?
I'm excited to try Prestige with high ball.
I was going to say that too, yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
To see if it like gives it some crispness and some pop
Yep.
to that classic, filling racket.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be cool. Also, the gravities are still auxetic too, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So both of those are very soft,
I'd be
classic. Both of those would be interesting
curious.
to see how they feel with high bore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Gravity will be super interesting. But for me personally, I thought this was a great implementation of like that firmer feel.
Yeah, and this was it the Speed Pro Legend that we reviewed that had the update with the high bore, and that was
Solid.
really good,
Yeah.
really good update to that racket.
Yeah, the current speeds I think with the high ball are great. And then I think for like something like a Gravity, it's where a player who wants that kind of prestige feel, but in the modern era, with the modern playing style, that's where you are. So that's kind of, I feel like, carrying that prestige torch. So yeah, both of those could be fun with some high ball in them. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see.
Stay tuned. I'm sure there'll be a podcast about it.
I like a lot of the radicals. I'm really interested to see an update next time with high bore, and I hope they go glossy.
Oh.
See what kind of
Very
take
cool.
it back to the old. I think that'd be.
Yeah. Well, I think that closes out this episode. I'm glad that we all are loving the extremes. They'll be available July 16th, I think. Do we know the exact launch date? Never mind.
Close
By
enough.
the time this goes out, you can demo and buy. So thanks for listening. Thanks for joining, you guys, and happy hitting.